Hello, hello, hello. This is Rashana with the Shining Light Ministry, coming with a message and to younger adults. Okay, um, this message it may not pertain to all younger adults, but I mean, honestly, I feel that it does. It's a part of it is me going to be me sharing a part of my testimony and things like that as to my reasoning to this advice from my perspective and my experience of what I went through and you know what maybe what I wish somebody would have sat down and said to me. So come on into your room, my younger adults, 18 plus. I am 34 years old, so this is coming from a 34-year-old woman. All right, my advice. Let's go back. 18-year-old me, what I wish, advice I would have got. Take your time. Take your time. Don't rush to get into any serious relationships at this time. Make sure that you seek therapy, okay? Because, you know, I'm currently in therapy and, there's a lot of healing from my childhood, but I can't even touch on that yet because I'm healing from my adulthood. And so maybe my, adulthood could have went a little smoother if I got therapy for my childhood, you know. So yeah, I believe that it could have prevented a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. Um, so that's that is advice number one. Seek therapy, and also know that therapy, having a therapist is not like one all fix all. You have to do the work. You have to put in the work, and you have to help your therapist with your healing. Think of it like this: like the therapist's job is 10%, and it's your job to do the rest of the 90. So how would you help? Journal. Begin to, take track of your habits, your moods, and everything like that. I mean, some people have been diagnosed with certain mental illnesses as a child, some have not. But regardless if you have or you haven't, I feel like, journaling and tracking your mood, tracking your activities, daily, the things that you do, what you're eating, um, all of that could be very helpful. Sometimes, what we eat could help with our mental health. What daily activities that we're doing could help with our mental health. Um, you never just know, but you never know what could be the cure or the fix. And I feel like, if you are not a danger to yourself and or others, that you should not rush into medication because a lot of times you could be misdiagnosed. And if you're misdiagnosed and you take a medication, it could be very detrimental to your health and it can make things worse for you as well. So, sometimes I think it's best to take it slow and just start with, psychotherapy, talk therapy, things like that, along with journaling and tracking your mental health and how things are going with you and how you act and interact. Um, I feel like if you do it when you're younger, it it could save you from uh, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, and a lot of pain, and a lot of trauma on top of trauma that you already may have. So that's the other thing. The reason why I say like take your time in relationship, especially if you had a traumatic childhood. This is extremely for young adults who experience a traumatic childhood, that experience, growing up in a household where there was alcoholism, where there was, you know, domestic violence, drug abuse, um, you know, other abuse as far as like molestation and things like that. Um, definitely make sure that you are on top of your mental health first and that you're healthy before you get into a committed relationship, because if you're unhealthy, 9 times out of 10 you're going to trauma bond with someone else who is unhealthy, and that could be a very dangerous situation. The other advice that I have is, explore you. Like, you're coming into adulthood, you're an adult now, you don't have to answer to anybody and things like that. So explore like, what is it that you like to do, you know. As far as hobbies, do you like music? Do you like art? Do you like, exercising? Do you like cooking? Explore those things, and explore those things to figure out and find out what it is that you like, because it may be some things that you never tried before that, you may be a natural at or may actually be good at, and you can begin to cultivate that and grow with that at this very young age. Because when you're young, listen, the ability that you have right now, you are not going to have later. I mean, not saying that you won't, you still will, but it's not going to be as sharp. You're not going to be able to do as much later on in life that you're able to do now. So this is like a peak season, and also be mindful that your brain is still developing as well. They say your mind, you really are not an adult brain wise until you're 25. So be mindful of that your frontal lobe is still underdeveloped. It's not fully developed yet. So allow yourself, the time to be able to develop that and try to prevent getting yourself into dangerous situations. If you, are already indulging in drinking and smoking and other things, I just don't like to feel like somebody is behind me, drinking, smoking, or adult activities. Know that these gambling, these things can turn into addiction, and also they can contribute to your mental health, or they may be signs of a mental health illness. So, I know you're young, and you may feel like, oh, I'm just having fun. I'm an adult. I can do these things now. Be very, very careful with those things, because it's a lot of people who don't come back from that. They don't come back from alcohol addictions. They don't come back from drug addictions. They don't come back from I'm trying not to say like the word SE, so like intercourse addictions, like things like that, like adult activities, these things, gambling, these things can ruin your life. And some people, like, they never are able to get their life back after that. They never recover. So that is, my advice to younger adults. When I was younger, I'm not gonna go in depth in my story right now. I'll just briefly go over it though. Like I, you know, jumped into a serious relationship at a very young age. I was indulged in adult activities with my partner and other partners. I was moving really fast, unprotected. I had got, STDs, and I actually, so it started off when I was younger with, STDs that were curable, and then I continued to be involved with a certain partner, knowing that they, were not faithful and that they were not having safe intercourse with other people, and I end up getting something that is uncurable, which is herpes, something that I have to live with and I have to carry. So for the rest of my life. And I got that at a very, very young age as a young adult. And so that's why I am sharing these things with you guys. And, my relationship that I got in, it was trauma bonding. It wasn't a healthy relationship. It wasn't based on love at all. And I'm still healing from that today. There was a child that came out of that relationship, and then I end up going into this cycle, and where it was like on repeat, this bad cycle on repeat, added in with other bad things. Gambling got added in there, there was a time period where I was drinking and I was smoking, and so like that wasn't good. And all of these things could be, they're like coping, but it's very detrimental it's a bad way to cope. And so my advice is for you to learn better ways to cope at a younger age. Begin to get the language and understand mental health, understand your mental health, understand mental illness, period, because, there's a lot of people struggling. And by you being knowledgeable about it, you'll be able to pinpoint what somebody may be struggling with and be able to better protect yourselves in this world. I may extend this video on another date and have more conversation with you guys, but I'm going to leave it right there. This is the Shining Light Ministry. Go ahead, like the video if you found this information useful. Share the content so that other young adults are able to get the message, and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned with the Shining Light Ministry. And if you wish to give to the ministry, go ahead and do that as well. And with that, I thank you. I love you. God bless.